Hey, on my Travel Wins podcast, I'm lucky to have Maddison McKibbin. How are you today, Matt?
Doing great. How you doing, Pete?
Doing great, man.
Good to hear.
Congratulations on all the success you've had with you're a beach volleyball player, but your videos have been just outstanding, actually.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
How long have you been a professional beach volleyball player?
You know, my brother and I play with my brother on the AVP, the domestic volleyball tour, and we've been playing together on the beach since, I think, 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is our fourth year playing together.
Well, that's pretty cool. And you had the one win with Ty Loomis up in San Francisco?
Yeah, Riley, I think that was 2017. Riley broke his hand, actually, in the first tournament of the season. And so it's kind of like the first year, or the first kind of season I didn't play with Riley, and teamed up with two, possibly three-time Olympian Reed Priddy for a few tournaments, and then teamed up with Ty Loomis, and we ended up winning the San Francisco Open.
So I guess part of my travel question is, how difficult is it for you to travel? I mean, you obviously known your brother his whole life, you being the older brother. But how different is it when you had to start playing with someone that's not your brother?
Well, I'm not sure if I heard you. Riley's actually older than I am. I'm not sure if you
is he really?
Yeah, Riley's 2 years older than me.
Okay, my bad.
So the question was, and what is it like playing with someone else?
Yeah, like because you play with Riley. And then all of a sudden, he gets hurt. Now you've got to travel with someone that's not your brother.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was fine traveling with different people. I was lucky enough to travel with two older veteran players. Reed, more of a veteran on the indoor side, and Ty Loomis, more of a veteran on the beach side. So, to be able to hang out with them, travel with them, it was definitely a fun experience and a memorable one because not many people get to play with those type of players.
Yeah. That's phenomenal, actually. What do you enjoy about the travel when you're traveling for volleyball?
We do kind of two different types of traveling. I kind of split it up between, traveling for the AVP tournaments and then traveling for some of the other volleyball adventures that we get to do.
Yeah.
Fortunately. But I would say traveling with my brother for like the AVP tournaments are, it's a little bit more like business-like. That we're there to play and perform, and then on the other side of things, going on like these excursions in volleyball, a bit more lighthearted. We can have a bit more creative spirit because we do make YouTube videos, so we're always kind of in a video mindset when we travel together, not really competing. But when we do compete, we deal with this conundrum of preparing for matches, and then we also make videos. So we really don't focus on creating videos when we travel for competitions until, after the competition is done.
Gotcha.
It's a really hard mindset switch. Sometimes it's easier than others. Half the time we're bummed that we're out of the tournament, so it takes us like 24 hours to kind of get out of that. But then, we have a whole nother job to cover the event and show what it's like, and that's equally as fun, but a different sort of fun.
Do you find, because I know you're doing drones, you're doing a whole bunch of new gear, so you're having to. I would think, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's got to be relatively easy to pack up for a volleyball tournament if you're not recording a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot easier to pack up for a volleyball tournament if we're not recording, but usually we always have our gear. And we're new to this space. We've been doing this for the past 2 years, but our channel has grown substantially. But what's really cool, I think, for someone like ourselves who didn't grow up making videos or doing stuff like that is that the equipment that is out there now is not only is high quality, but it's easy to compact. I mean, we have backpacks from Incase, and the backside unzips, and right now in my Incase backpack I have two Canon DSLR cameras, a tripod, I have a DJI Osmo Pocket Osmo gimbal, some lavalier mics, a microphone for my camera, and like 3 different Canon lenses, and I'm able to fit my computer in there and everything else. So it actually is not that hard to travel with. I take a few things out. I can put like the DJI Mavic drone in there and a few the controllers and a few batteries, and it's actually easier than ever.
Yeah, so it's definitely much. I mean, just even for me, I'll shoot videos when I'm just going up and down the Strand, on my phone.
Yeah.
And the quality of I use an iPhone, but even the Androids, it's just phenomenal.
No, it really is, and like the accessories that kind of come with it, even if you want to just use your iPhone, there's so many different things you can do, especially when it comes to like gimbals and those accessories. Like you can turn your
smooth and all that,
your iPhone into a slow motion zoom, slow motion, non-shaky camera,
Oh yeah, and then they have that one where I think it's the Smooth, SMOVE, where it'll lock onto a person's face, so you can just put it down and it'll stay with you.
I know. I mean, we actually just bought like something similar. It's the DJI. I think it's the mobile Osmo gimbal.
Okay.
We were just messing around with it yesterday, but I completely agree. The equipment that is out there makes it a lot easier for a lot of people to become like videographers.
Yeah, but I think what sets your guys' video apart is the content, and the production is awesome. I mean, no one would ever guess you guys have been doing this for 2 years, but you have great content.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it, and I think our quality is getting better and better. And I'm sure someone who professionally does this stuff sees our stuff like, they could learn a lot. But that's kind of the beauty of what we do is we just go out there, we shoot it, we watch YouTube videos to learn YouTube videos, and I think our quality has gotten better and better. And we kind of put it out. We talk about kind of how we learn and how we've succeeded is just kind of by doing. And there's like this story that we always tell people is like, there was this pottery class, and the teacher tells half the class, I want you to plan the entire semester to make your perfect pot. Just plan it out. And the other class has to make one pot a day, and at the end of the semester, make the perfect pot. And can you guess which half of the class made better pots at the end of the semester? Do you have a guess?
The second.
It was the second. It was the people that tried, learned from it, make stuff over and over and over. And so we come out with a video every single Wednesday. And what that has allowed us to do is we started down one road and one direction when we first started our channel, and it's morphed and we've grown, and now we have a different categories of content, but we've only been able to do that because we've been consistently making videos. And it's been probably the much more satisfying doing that, even though, we've made a bunch of mistakes, a bunch of videos have been out of focus, the audio has been off, there's been a lot of wind in some of them, misspellings and subtitles, but all of that has gotten us to where we are now.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I started my podcast just over a year ago.
Having
never recorded anything in my life, never heard my own voice played back, never published anything, never did any of it. So same boat.
What are like the one or two biggest things that you've learned just from starting off, or the changes you've made?
God, it's kind of a weird thing is, I started the podcast in a big way because of my daughters. My daughters are 24 and 25 now, and having them grow up, I always told them, you can do whatever you want. If you want to make movies, go make movies. If you want to do a documentary, go make a documentary. You want to be a wedding planner, go be a wedding planner. And then all of a sudden, it was I had a buddy that told me to do, I should do a podcast, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to learn something new. And all of a sudden, I found myself, I had to have a dad talk with myself. Like, you can do it. So, persistence.
No, that's a really cool story. I feel you on that one.
Well, technology, obviously my youngest daughter is 24, had some very cool jobs and with some very cool people. And she was the one that actually helped me with the technology end of it. She found the app for me I'm like, hey, I need to edit my audio. So she goes and finds it. She goes, here's a free download. I'm like, cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's been neat. And then the second thing I would say is, like, just what you just said, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
I'm 53 episodes in. I've got, another half dozen that have agreed to be on the show. I'm now getting asked to be guests on the show.
Oh, that is incredible.
So,
talking to your point before, your daughter helping, it's funny because my brother and I, we also have a little brother, Jameson, and he's a freshman at USC, but he's been helping us out as well. And so we've taught him a little bit how to edit, how to shoot video, but if there's something I don't know or something I don't know how to do, I just send him, I go, hey, can you figure out how to use this new thing, learn about it, watch YouTube videos about it, and then teach me, instead of me learning it and trying to teach him. And so he's done that a few times, and it's helped us grow more and more and more.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I've been a master of YouTube videos as well, because I had to do my own website. My daughter helped me with the first website. It wasn't what I wanted. I couldn't explain it to her over the phone. So I was like, God darn it. So then also it's making phone calls and, hey, you know how to do websites? Yeah. What are you trying to do? Hey, go to this video, Yeah. Same deal. But, awesome. It's you're never too old or too young to start something. Yeah. No,
I couldn't agree more.
Young people go, I don't have any experience. I don't know anything. I don't know anybody. That no one will listen to me. Old people, I'm too old to learn something new. Can't teach an old dog new tricks, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. No, and I think that's even more prevalent in kind of the athlete space, the collegiate athlete space. Me and Riley both went to USC. We studied business, and we played volleyball there. And, we played professionally for a little bit indoor, but I mean, a business degree from USC is fantastic, and I learned a lot. But I think with playing sports, you don't get open to a lot of the opportunities that are there in academics or in exploring something creatively, because your time is spent playing your sport. And so I actually went back to grad school, or did a 5th year in grad school, and that's where I kind of learned a little bit of videography, and I had to. Our teacher made us make a video, made us learn editing software. And so we had a free subscription to the Adobe Suite. And so it allowed me to kind of get into that. And that's where we kind of got started. But I mean, I think what you talked about, you're never too old to learn new things. I think that happens a lot with athletes. And I think exploring those opportunities, granted, I was lucky enough to be forced to make a video, but it led to what we're doing now.
I'll tell you a story. I interviewed a guy named Landon Turner, who plays offensive line for the Carolina Panthers this season. Last 2 years he played for the Saints. All-American at University of North Carolina. And he's freaked out in the sense of, he goes, all my friends are jealous of me, and all they can think of is I'm jealous of them, because they've had the last 3 or 4 years to get experience. Yeah. Because when I go out to the job market, because, the average NFL career is like 3.5 years. He goes, when I go into the job market, I'm going to be in my getting in my late 20s, and I've never had a real job. Because when I was in college, football was year round. He was an All-American, senior captain, right into the NFL. And the NFL is not big money. It's bigger than AVP, but it's still not, unless you're a Cam Newton. But it's a low 6-figure income, and all of a sudden you're done.
And is that where he is now? Is he still playing, or?
Yeah, he's on the Panthers this season, but he doesn't know if he's going to make the roster.
Okay.
So he's sitting there going, all my friends that I graduated with have 3 or 4 years of business experience, and I'm going to go in there going, I've been playing football. I don't know anything. No, same deal.
I've been there. I mean, I'm still there to a certain degree. I think we've got lucky to find a small niche in our sport of making video content, because there wasn't much of it out there. And I mean, I can say now that we're financially sustainable from our YouTube channel as of January of this past year. And I'm still in that situation. Like if volleyball falls through or whatnot, what am I going to do? But at least I've been able to develop some, I don't want to say tangible skills, but some, I guess, digital skills in videography or editing or whatever it is, everything that we do. We have our hands in a lot of different things in our business. But at least I've gained that experience from doing stuff ourselves. So
almost everybody I've
sitting
talked
okay.
Almost everybody. I just talked to Marcus Peterson, who's wide receiver on the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Went back, got his MBA. His first year of pro football was in London for the European Football League, which is a minor leagues of the NFL, I guess. While he was there, he got his master's in business. Mm-hmm. He's back now. He started his own clothing line, and he's like a professional model. Like,
oh, lucky guy, huh?
Yeah. So he's a model, and then he plays, playing for the Chargers. But he's always working on multiple things. He's never saying, "Well, I'm going to be a football player." No.
Yeah, I've always felt that trying to do something on your own, regardless if it works or if it fails, the learning experience from it is invaluable. I think, like, for example, we have merchandise and we don't sell all that much, but to learn the ins and outs of merchandise, of shipping through UPS or the USPS or FedEx, and how to work ShipStation to send off all your stuff. I mean, I think it's valuable stuff to be learned. And it's like, okay, well, now I know how to do that, so I can handle shipping.
And if you ever get into actually making your own clothes instead of buying blanks and then putting the print on it.
Mm-hmm.
My day job is I work for a clothing manufacturer. So we make Western clothing for jeans, cowboy boots, shirts, sweatshirts, ball caps, and we do all that.
So I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, my territory is California and Hawaii. And So we make things in China, India, and Mexico. Those are our three main countries of origin. And it's
wow.
We're selling, I'll sell 30,000 shirts next week. So it's not like, but so the travel part for me is cool because I get to go out and meet people when I'm out on the road, and it's made traveling for work more fun because it's kind of like with you, if you were to focus 100% and put all your ups and downs on volleyball, then that makes volleyball not as much fun.
Yeah. No,
you know what I mean?
No. I mean, it just makes it, you're purely financially reliant on your prize money. And right. I think there's some athletes that can thrive on that. I think it's a bit risky because you can be at the top of your game winning prize money, but then if you get hurt, you're in a little bit more of a hole. So, I mean, I'm all for kind of diversifying how to make money outside of prize money in beach volleyball.
Well, at least for me, what I found is because I have my podcast on the side, like in 2 weeks I'll be up in San Jose and I'll start working my way down from San Francisco all the way down, and I don't stress about shit because I'm 100% commission. So if I go up there and don't sell anything, I'm in the hole because I had to pay for gas, food, hotel. Now, that never happens, but I mean, it's still the mentality. It's kind of like you. I mean, if you go up to Seattle and play in Seattle or New York or you don't make any money. You make past out of the qualifier. How much money did you make?
That is true. I lost money in the New York qualifier because we did first qualifier. Yeah, we haven't made it out of for like a few years now. But so, I mean, you're right.
A lot of the Cowboys I deal with are in the same boat, and they're hauling horses and trailers and going through hundreds of gallons of gas because they can't fly. They got to drive their horses to a rodeo. And if they don't, that's
what you call passion, right?
Yeah, if they don't place, they don't make any money.
Yeah.
And so it's the same boat. But a lot of them now, it's kind of like with my podcast, I'm not as stressed about going up there every day because I've always got a few other things at least on my head, so I'm clear. I go in there, it's kind of like when you're dating somebody and all of a sudden girls come up to you, but when you're single, you can't find a date.
I guess I think there's some similarities and some differences in that.
I think it's just a mindset,
Yeah. No, I feel you.
Girls understand that you're out hunting them down, but when you're not, you're like, oh shit, how'd that happen? So back to travel. How different is it playing in snow in Italy?
So
that's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, so we primarily play beach volleyball, and we grew up playing indoor volleyball at USC. And so the FIVB, like the governing body of volleyball, started to start putting on snow volleyball events. And it started, I want to say, a few years ago, but snow volleyball has been going on in a few European countries since, I want to say, that like the 80s. But the FIVB just picked it up and put on a few events the past 2 years. And before, it was two-man snow volleyball. But this year, they realized that two-man, because it's a little bit harder to move in the snow, that two-man, the rallies don't last as long. So they add a third person, and they did three-man. And so to start off the season, they had one tournament in Austria, and we weren't a part of that one. While that one was going on, we played in a local snow volleyball tournament in Italy. And then in like the, I want to say the west in Prato Nevoso, which is kind of near like the France border. And then the second event that the FIV put on was in Kronplatz, Italy, which was on the other end of Italy, still in the north, close to Austria. And so we drove like 2 days, I forget how many hours of driving through Italy, which was amazing. By far and away the most amazing trip we ever went on. And our team was me, my brother, Troy Field, who's I don't want to say up and coming because he's already made a few Sundays on the AVP. And then my girlfriend Chelsea came with us, but we played in the Kronplatz snow volleyball tournament for the FIVB, and we ended up winning gold. Even though we were in the qualifier, we were the second team for the U.S. But sorry, that was just to give background. But what it was like playing in it, for one, I mean there's like three different sort of snow conditions. There's like right after a hard snow. The ground is kind of hard. It's not that hard, but it's like nicely packed.
It's not sand either.
And it's not sand, but it's like playing on indoor. Beach volleyball, you have to get your feet under you a little more. You can't broad jump as much because it's harder broad jump. You lose your jump. But on this packed snow, it was like playing indoor. So you could broad jump a little bit more. You could run faster plays like a front one or back two or a lob and get your feet there easily and broad jump. Then, if there was a night where there was no snow and the next day was really cold, it was icy. So it's just kind of like skittish, almost. It was like you couldn't really get your feet there. So it's like you kind of have to revert to playing indoor or beach volleyball a little bit more. You couldn't broad jump as much. Got to get your feet under you, jump straight up. And then the last one was like slushy. And that was probably the hardest one, made for some more dramatic plays. If you move like in the wrong direction just a little bit, it's hard to like recover. But that condition was what it was like when we were playing Russia in the finals. And it was, I mean, the depth was like almost like sand. You could see like just holes of snow all over the place. So it was a little bit of wet, but it made for probably one of the most dramatic volleyball games I've ever been a part of. And we had like an unbelievable comeback. I mean, when we put the whole matchup on YouTube, it got like 100,000 views in the first week. And we didn't even think people were going to be that interested in snow volleyball, honestly. But I think adding a third person to the court makes for longer rallies, makes for more impressive hits and blocks. And it also, what it does is I talked about how the conditions are kind of indoor volleyball, kind of sand volleyball, but it allows players who play indoor volleyball and sand to both compete at that level. Because if you take some of the best indoor players to the beach, it doesn't necessarily translate. You take some of the best beach players to indoor, they're not great either. It doesn't translate. So I thought it was like a great combination of players from both sides of volleyball.
Dude, when I pulled that up and I was looking on YouTube, I'm like, what is that?
I know.
It was like I never even considered or thought of. I mean, is it a different ball? Do these?
Yeah, so it's a different ball. Mikasa is actually developed. They developed the ball for the snow, so it doesn't get like usually if a regular volleyball gets wet, it gets a bit heavier. So Mikasa developed a ball that doesn't let the water in, stays relatively dry, and it worked well. Supposedly, they're developing another ball because we're going back to snow volleyball, which is going to be in Bariloche, Argentina, and near Patagonia. That's going to be at the start of August. So we're going to go back to play. So we'll see the new ball then. But I think I think a lot of questions people have about snow volleyball is like why, and my thing is, I mean, this is my understanding of what I think is that beach volleyball and indoor volleyball gets really good media exposure in the Olympics. Probably some of the best, biggest media exposure for our sport during those times. And I think the FIVB is smart to, let's try and capitalize and make volleyball not, once every 4 years, but once every 2 years, trying to get into the Winter Olympics. And I had some people, and I talked to people, and don't quote me on this, but for something to become an Olympic sport, it takes I want to say on the men's side, 76 countries on 6 different continents. It has to be played on 75 countries and 6 different continents. And for the women, it's 40-something countries and 4 continents. Don't quote me on those.
No, I got you.
But it takes a lot. And so it's going to take a while. But one of the things is that when we heard about snow volleyball, we thought it was kind of like a PR stunt. And I believe a lot of people think it is too, but actually going to the event, what's different about it is, for one, the foot traffic of some of these events is astronomical, because it is at the bottom of ski lifts or at the bottom of a ski resort. And so, and I'm not saying that the foot traffic at beach volleyball events is very small at all, but I think it definitely brings our sport into another audience. Secondly, I believe that a lot of these ski resorts that the FIVB partners with has a lot of money to put on events and put on things like this. So it definitely helps the promoters of these sports put on something that's entertaining, but they get financial support from these ski resorts. And tell me if this is not interesting to you. Just tell me, and I can be done with it. But and
so when you go to Italy, how do you? Obviously, you want to film it, but so you're in the quandrum of you're competing, but you want to make sure it gets filmed. How do you set that up?
So it's funny. We brought Troy Field with us because he's a very good volleyball player, but also he's also knows just as much about video and editing as we do. And so what we did, actually, like I said, me and Riley have a hard time filming when we're playing and getting ready. But Troy was the one who set up his Sony 4K camera in sometimes blizzarding weather on the back line, and that was key. We needed footage like that.
Yeah.
And that made up a very good portion of the footage that we shot and the videos that we made. But then also we kind of vlog during the tournament, before it, and after the tournament, just what the experience is like. And that's a bit easier than talking to the camera during competition or in between matches. So that was extremely helpful, and documenting our whole trip was made up 2 of the other videos that we made. But having a camera on the back line, and we also had support from the FIVB that gave us their live stream footage. So we were able to kind of cut up and make our matches through that, cutting out the timeout so the viewer just gets kind of the action. But
I gotcha.
We are going to Argentina, and we've added one other player to our snow volleyball team, and that would be our new intern, videographer, and editor, our little brother, Jameson McKibbin. So that should help us out a little bit more.
It's going to be the 3 of you, or is it going to be a 4-man, or is it going to be 3?
So you can have up to 4 players, but 3 only play. We just didn't have a sub the first time we played, so we added Jameson to our team, and he's going to play with us and help us film. Is
he going to be how does that work with the NCAA?
So it's fine. I mean, there's a lot of collegiate kids that play on the USA teams. Junior national teams. No, junior national teams. Trust me, SC has as of now, has a very good compliance officer. So we went through everything that we had to go through with him. We put it with his coaches. He can get his trip paid for as long as he doesn't accept any prize money, which is fine. If we win, trust me, I have no need in paying him.
That's awesome. Hey, come help us. We're not going to pay you.
Just put it on your resume.
Exactly. That's his internship.
It's one of the perks of having a brother who's 9 years younger than you.
That's awesome. I told my daughter interned while she was in college, and she ended up being a personal assistant, and I'm like, she's telling me what she's doing for these people. I'm like, hold on, that's what I need. I'm like, hold on, you never did that for me.
Oh, I know.
Like, and I was paying, yeah. But it was literally, you know, I mean, there's a lot of negatives of being a celebrity, but one of the good things would be you don't have to fill up your own gas. You don't have to go to dry cleaning. You don't have to go to the grocery store.
I will set the record straight. We don't make our little brother do any of that stuff. We don't. No. We don't, because he's an athlete just like us. I think what we hope for is for him to find an interest, not necessarily a passion, but an interest of just doing something outside of sports. That's something that we found, and we don't want to push it on him. But I think to kind of facilitate that interest in anything creative or anything that you can learn to have a tangible skill outside of sports is a great opportunity, especially during an internship. So I tell him, I was like, dude, if you don't want to learn this, you don't have to, and I'll throw something your way and see whatever catches. But he's taken to it, so I'm happy. And the one thing I don't want to do is make him do just the worst jobs ever, and then he hates it.
Yeah, no, I joke, but you know, like my daughter, I mean, she got to put on some very cool names for her resume. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
So she got to work for Kim Kardashian.
Oh, that was
her last internship.
How was that?
Interesting.
That's a good adjective.
Very interesting. Well, her first job out of high school was working for Jared Leto.
Oh, wow.
Actor and singer. And that was her first job in her life.
Sounds like she has a pretty remarkable resume. Damn, that's awesome.
She played lacrosse through high school. Mm-hmm. And I was like, look, you know, if you're going to be an athlete, be an athlete. Don't worry about, I don't need you to make, you know, $6 an hour. And so she played 1 year in college, but didn't like it because she just wanted to move on. Uh-huh. And so she applied. And it goes back to how I started the podcast. She came up to me. 30 Seconds to Mars was her favorite band. Mm-hmm. And they put on their thing that they're hiring. Must live in the LA area, must be enrolled in college, you know, to get college credit. She goes, do you think I should apply? I go, fuck yeah, why not?
And she did?
Worst case scenario, you get to tell all your friends you applied to work for Jared. Like a week later, oh my God, they want to interview me. Should I go? And I'm like, yeah. I go, worst case scenario, you get to say you applied. And, you know, you got to see his office and all that. Oh my God, they want to hire me.
Good for her.
I'm like, cool. And then, you know, hey, they're opening up for Lincoln Park. They want me to go on tour with them. Like, yeah, can I go with you? You know, like, so. But it was, you know, me telling her why not do this and that, and all of a sudden the podcasting became. I had to deal with my own bullshit, kind of. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, or my daughter's going, hey, you could do it. I'm like, oh God, damn it. I guess I should. I guess I should try it. So it's worked out. The beach snow volleyball is the craziest thing I've seen in a long time. When I saw the blizzard and all that, I'm like, no. And it makes perfect sense what you said, the in between the winter sport and all that. I never put that together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there is a chance. Like from my understanding, the host country of the Olympics can choose certain sports that they want in their Olympics. And, you know, I believe Milan just got the bid for 2026 Winter Olympics. And that's probably one of the countries that's pushing snow volleyball the hardest. I told you we played in a local snow volleyball tournament on the other side of Italy. Like, so there is a chance. There's a very good chance.
Yeah, I think it would get good ratings too, to be honest. I mean,
I think it's really entertaining. I think having, you know, just different formats of volleyball, 3-on-3, just brings different plays, different rallies, different players in there. And I mean, I think 3-on-3 and 4-on-4 is incredibly entertaining.
I like the 3-on-3 too. I didn't realize, you know, what you're saying about, you know, you can't quite move the same as you do in sand, but it seems, like you said, it made the rallies longer. You know, the dump shots weren't quite as effective because you have 3 people out there. So it changed up your strategy.
Mhm.
So that was very cool.
No, yeah, you're totally right.
But after your career and all that, what would you like to do, and do you want to keep travel as part of it?
Yeah, I mean that's a hard question to answer. What we do at the end of our careers. I think for us, because you know we started doing this without a plan.
Yeah.
I kind of like, you know, keep going in that direction. It's what's kept things new and fresh for us. We've gotten a few more opportunities to travel and do stuff. Like we're going to Vancouver in 2 weeks to play in a tournament. And then we have the rest of the AVP tournaments, of course, you know, Hermosa, Manhattan, Chicago, and Hawaii. And then we're just putting the final touches together of going to play in the Maldives at the first annual international beach volleyball competition put on by the Maldives veteran volleyball group, and then straight from there to Thailand to coach a clinic in Koh Phangan, and then from there we might be traveling to Qatar to play in the ANOC World Beach Games with a crew with an AVP crew that's quite talented in a 4-on-4 beach volleyball competition, amongst other beach sports. So
hey, you should get Walton to play with you.
Well, we got our team, and our team is me, Riley, Taylor Crabb, Brian Cook, Jeremy Casebeer, and Troy Field.
Yes, please.
So, I mean, for the listeners who don't know, Taylor Crabb has won, I want to say, 2 out of the last 3 AVP tournaments. Jeremy Casebeer just won the last one. Troy Field, I want to say, has made it to the semifinals in 2 of the last 3. Please don't quote me on these. Brian Cook is another phenomenal player, but he's been dealing with a knee injury for the past few years. But if he was healthy, he'd probably be making those Sundays. And you got me and Riley. So we're looking forward to making some really fun content with all those guys, and in picturesque places like the Maldives and Thailand. And I think one thing that we really like doing, making videos, is we've been to a few other places, Costa Rica, like I said, Italy, and everyone knows that volleyball is a very big community sport. And but to kind of go to these places and see it and experience for ourselves, you mentioned traveling and meeting people. There's a difference between traveling and seeing places, which is amazing, but there's a much more to gain and a much more, powerful experience when you actually get to meet the people that live there. And for me, I would take those trips over sightseeing any day of the week.
Yeah. Well, then the people you meet, it's so much easier to stay in touch now, too, with technology. I mean, the people I met 20 years ago on the road, well, unless it was a long-distance phone call, that was it. I mean, there was no internet, there was no computer, no cell phones.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, man, I'll see you in maybe in a year and a half. And now you can stay in touch with people.
Yeah, not only can you stay in touch with people, but you can also connect out of the blue. I can't tell you how many people we've met just from a random Instagram message or a random Facebook message, but they've turned out to be some of the best times I'll ever remember.
Well, dude, literally Instagram, people that I've had Smush Parker, who played on the Lakers during the Kobe years, liked one of my photos on Instagram, so I reached out to him. I'm like, dude, is this really you? And he's like, yeah. Like, hey, do you want to be on my show? He goes, yeah, I'll be on your show.
That's awesome.
Oh, okay. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, you never know. You never know what one message will do.
Wait, and it sounds weird. When I didn't mean to sound like, hey, when your career's over, but
no.
You're in a profession where a poor ACL, and that could be it for you.
No, and you're right. And I think I'm not shying away from the answer. I think that I work best of just kind of dealing with what's right in front of me.
Yeah.
And I think if I get the things that I need to do done, explore other ideas, and just keep kind of pushing the boundary on what we're doing, and my brother feels the same way, then something will come out of it. And yeah, that's just you know, I've never been one to set long-term goals, even though I probably should. I'm more of like, what do I need to get done today, tomorrow, and this week?
Well, it's whatever's working for you, you know, because when you get to the point where you need to make those changes, then you'll make them. You know, if you need to start making midterm or long-term goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a buddy who was a bull rider, and dude, he was in his early 30s. I was in his wedding and all that, and he was doing really well, and then he tore his ACL for like the 5th time.
Oh gosh.
After he, you know, well, he hit the bolt came up and, you know, he cracked his head, and he didn't wear the helmet at the time. So it split him open. So he had to wear the helmet because they wouldn't let him ride without it. He hated it, and it threw him off. So when he came off, he tore his ACL. Well, literally, it was career ending. The doctor said, "No more ACLs for you. That's it."
Oh my gosh!
It's like, oh, you're 32. That's all you've ever done your whole life since you were literally a kid. That's over.
Yeah, that's a lot to sit with.
Yeah, and he didn't have his back. I mean, he's raising bulls, you know, so he's got a ranch and all that. Where he's raising bucking bulls. But,
you know, there's only a few people I've met who've had multiple ACL tears, and I'm always like, I don't know, enthralled with their story and how much they love their sport to keep continually doing it. I think it makes for a special person, regardless if, you know, they don't know what they're gonna do next. I mean, that's a bummer, but to hear like people's stories of like their dedication and passion to come back from 3-4 ACL tears, I'm like, wow. Like, who are you? Like, it's incredible.
You're right. It's a different. I had a girl that I coached in high school for lacrosse. Ended up playing, and dude, she had the worst luck. Tore ACL one year, I think her junior year. She tore her meniscus on her other knee on her senior year, and she dislocated her thumb. Her senior year, she gets a college scholarship in Colorado, a smaller D2 school. Plays, tears her other ACL. It's just like, geez. I go, you know what? Might not be the sport for you now. Like,
oh man.
You know, you know, there's no professional women's lacrosse, right? This is not a.
Yeah, no, I get it. You probably spend more time rehabbing than actually playing. That's
playing, yeah. And rehab sucks. At least from my experiences, rehab is terrible.
It's never fun.
Well, I mean, you got your little MCL going on right now, I guess. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think for most athletes to find the silver lining in how to dealing with injuries is kind of not half the battle, but I don't know. I almost want to say half the fun. I think it's a time to take a step back and assess, you know, what you can improve on. Maybe it's not physically, maybe it's mentally. You know, there was a player on the AVP, Triborn, who was basically should have gone to the Olympics in Rio, but because you only allow 2 teams per country, didn't make it. Right after that, he was diagnosed with a autoimmune disease, and so he couldn't play for 2 years. And so he basically reinvented himself. You know, he started commentating for the AVP. He started a podcast. It's funny. He started a podcast with a friend about beach volleyball, but he also spent a lot of time reading a lot of sports psychology books and really dialed in on the mental side and actually had an actionable plan of what he's going to do when he came back. And he came back and, you know, even me personally, I was like, oh, this is going to take a while. He got right back into it. He picked up a partner, Trevor Crabb, who's a childhood friend of his. And, you know, now they're sitting in 3rd place in the U.S. on the international side, you know, charging to go back to the Olympics, and it's a fairly close race.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a cool story too, though.
No, it's an incredible story. He actually, I grew up with him in Hawaii. He was my brother's. We all went to SC together. He was my brother's roommate for 4 years. We grew up playing beach together. So I've known him for a really long time. He actually just wrote an article on the AVP. It's on their website. Kind of explains his whole story. But no, yeah, it's an incredible story, and I think an uplifting story for anyone who has to deal with, you know, recovering from any injury. I think he's made a pretty solid blueprint of how to do that.
That would be, you know, even seeing them at the high school kids. My daughter tore her ACL. My youngest daughter tore her ACL her junior year.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did the beach climbs, all the sand climbs up in Malibu, and then in Manhattan Beach where they have those big.
Oh yeah, the sand dunes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we would do that. We would go for hikes.
Uh-huh.
I remember riding bikes, one-legged squats, the whole thing. And then she came back and crushed it.
Finding the silver lining, doing stuff that you would normally never do. Sure, it's a great time for you and her.
She said the ACL, tearing her ACL made her a better player because she had so much natural talent that she kind of skated by her freshman and sophomore year and then first part of her junior year because she was so fast. And,
that's cool to hear.
And so she goes, we would just put her on the bounce back, which is when you're playing lacrosse, you just throw the ball back to yourself.
Uh-huh.
And she just did bounce back for hours. And so when she got back to where she could start running and shooting, her shot, her precision was just on point.
There you go, another success story.
Yeah. But you're right. But it just made me think, like when you were talking about your buddy, it's like I think the adversity kind of brings it back.
Yeah. No, I think so. I think it has to come from internally. I know a lot of people who have been pushed by parents to, let's work on this while you're hurt. But I think the internal motivation of trying to become better or doing those sort of things is kind of the only way that it really works and it really happens.
I mean, to any of my listeners that haven't watched AVP, it's going to be on Amazon Prime, for one.
Yeah.
But it's the elite level of beach volleyball.
Yeah, like domestically, it is like the professional tour for the U.S.
Yeah.
And then internationally, we have, in this Olympic run right now, we have probably 6 teams on the men's and 6 teams on the women's who are vying for this Olympic run. The top 3 teams on the U.S., Phil Delhauser, Nick Lucena, Taylor Crabb, and Jake Gibb, Triborn, and Trevor Crabb are in the top 24 ranked internationally. And then on the women's side, you have like 5 or 6 teams that are in the top 24. It's like an incredible race, and it shows the caliber of U.S. teams playing domestically on the AVP tour. I mean, if you can't make it to an event, like Pete said, it's on Amazon Prime. 3 courts are streamed, commentating, sideline reporting, and then if you can make it, we have the Hermosa Beach Open, which is coming up next week when this airs. The Manhattan Beach Open. Then we have the Chicago Open, Hermosa Beach Open. Oh no, sorry, Chicago Open and Hawaii Open.
Hawaii, yeah. Well, and for all the listeners, it's free.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the crazy part about it. It's like you walk. For any of my listeners that are what I consider to be average height, if you ever want to feel small, go to a volleyball tournament.
That's like the worst selling point ever. No one wants to seem small. If you want to see some tall people, then yeah.
I'm 5'10" and walk around. I'm like, hey, Carly, the women are 6'2", 6'3".
It's actually pretty rad, and they've done a better job more and more. I think from an entertainment standpoint, the play is the top in the world, but it's a full family experience. They have bouncy houses all over the place. They have a bunch of games. They have like a jump man where you just jump into this inflatable pool. Not inflatable pool, but inflatable big mattress thing. Yeah. And there's a bunch of different booths with a bunch of different sponsors. So I think it's a carnival down at the beach. So it's great for all ages. And if you don't know the sport at all, I think it's a really good entertaining game.
There are I'm trying to think as I'm saying this. There aren't too many sports. World class Olympic level athletes are literally just walking next to you and saying hi and talking to you, and almost everybody is super cool. I mean, they might have just lost a match or they got a big match coming up, but
I would say all the players are very approachable, very friendly. I will say that if you see a player walking to their match, stay away. Yeah. And then if they just lose, I've been asked that question a lot. Like, hey, when can I go up to players? I was like, if they just lose, give them a while. And if they're just walking to their match, you can maybe say hi, hey, how are you?
Good luck, whatever. Yeah.
But other than that, outside of that, approach them anytime, any place, anywhere, and I promise you, they're friendly people. Like you said, it's very different from other sports.
Yeah. Do you think I guess where I was going with this is you're literally a world-class athlete. And a lot of the people I talk to are like, yeah, whatever. But you're on that level. Do you think that helps you with your video effort?
I can't really consider myself a world-class athlete.
Okay.
But I don't know. I appreciate that. I don't consider myself like that. But I think, does it help us making our content? I think one thing that has helped us to make our content is, even though we are professional beach volleyball players, we don't pretend to know all the answers. We started making beach volleyball tutorials, and a lot of the times there's players out there that understand a skill much better than we do. So in our tutorials, we usually bring in another AVP player to explain something. We have Casey Patterson for hand setting. We had Gina Urango for jump serving. Chase Frischman for passing. There are some tutorials which we do ourselves because we think we can speak upon it. But, in beach volleyball, no one has all the answers. But I think in order to get a better idea of how to play the game, I think it's great to hear from other people's perspective. And I think that sense has helped us, not pretending to we just actually saying we don't have all the answers. But we're going to share what other people believe to be true and try it out yourself.
You remind me of the first podcast I did, Madison, was a guy named Hunter Cure.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a cowboy, and we sponsor him. I've known him for about 7-8 years now. And he's a 2-time world champ steer wrestler. So he's the guy that rides his horse, jumps off it onto a 500-pound cow that has big horns, and then wrestles it to the ground.
No way.
He has to do that in about 4.1 seconds. If he does,
I'm going to go on YouTube right after this and check him out.
If he does 4.8 seconds, he doesn't make any money.
Oh my gosh.
He's 2-time world champ. And when I talk to him, and I go, well, Hunter, you're world champ. He goes, but because of the people he's around, which are all other world champs or cowboys, he doesn't think of it like that. It's like me saying to you, you're a world-class athlete. I can watch on YouTube you beating Phil Dahlhauser. Probably said his name wrong.
I didn't beat him.
You never? Oh, okay.
I didn't beat him. Oh, we went to 3 sets with him in her.
Oh no, I was thinking the San Francisco when you won.
Oh, I did not play. It
wasn't him. Yeah, you're right.
That.
But you won an AVP tournament, so that makes you a world-class athlete.
Okay,
you're stuck with it.
I'll make it a world national athlete. How about that?
Okay. All right.
Or no, sorry, I said that, a national class athlete.
But it's interesting because you remind me very much of Hunter, because all of Hunter's buddies cowboys are it sounds very similar to volleyball players. It's a very close knit community, and like if you go there and your horse is a little lame or whatever, Hunter will let you borrow his horse. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, okay,
that's really cool.
Yeah, but he doesn't consider himself a world champ because his friends would bust his balls about it. But you're playing with Jeremy Casebeer, and you're playing with all these guys that are top level.
Yeah. All right. I can see your side.
I'm going to convince you. So, no, it's awesome. And what's the best way for my listeners to stay in touch with you and see what's going on?
Well, a lot of the content that we put out is on our YouTube channel, the McKibbin Brothers. But you can follow our joint Instagram account, the McKibbin Brothers on Instagram. My brother's Instagram account is Riley Mac4, I think, on Instagram, and mine is Madison.McKibbin. If you want to tune in and join in,
the website.
Yeah, we make a new YouTube video every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We actually took today off because we've been kind of booked making our last video, and we're just kind of planning for the future right now. But next Wednesday, it'll be it.
Let me ask you this question. This has nothing to do with that. Why did you choose Wednesdays?
We had no idea
curious.
why. We had no idea why we chose Wednesdays.
Okay.
It's just something that we started to do, and then we quickly learned that coming out with one video a week is important. It's an incredible amount of work, but I think consistency is a very important thing to grow a YouTube channel. So we started with Wednesdays, and we've just never changed it.
Okay, I didn't know because I put up my new episodes on Mondays, but I do a little teaser on Friday. And it was all based on different podcasters that I've talked to and met with and all that. Yeah. But they all say the same thing. They say if you're gonna do Mondays, then Mondays it is.
Yeah.
And so don't do Tuesday or Wednesday because all of a sudden people will stop.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just curious why you picked Wednesday. That's all.
No, yeah, that's totally fine.
It was a random question. So, hey, man, I really appreciate all the time.
Yeah, Pete, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
And I'll definitely shoot you the link when it gets set up, and I'll definitely come by and say hi to you. Hopefully, way before your match or way after you win in Hermosa.
Sounds good.
Appreciate the time, but I'll talk to you soon.
Pete, sounds good, man. Nice talking with you.
You good,
all right. Take care.